This conference will now be recorded.
Good morning, guys. So today we'll start with PowerShell. We'll start from very basics, like the keywords, grammar, and semantics and everything, so that you will be able to understand what a PowerShell script is. If someone gives you, and you will know exactly what the scripts will do, and also you will be able to write your own script as well based on the requirement. So end of the session, that will be the key takeaways from this. Okay. And then once we are done with PowerShell scripting, we will go back to again CI/CD pipeline and see how we can use these PowerShell scripts in some of the scenarios. So that will help you. So PowerShell script is not just for CI/CD pipeline, right? The very basic nature of PowerShell is for administration of your uh, servers basically, rather than CI/CD pipelines. Okay, but we can use it here as well for some of the things. Let us say you don't have tasks to do something as part of your CI/CD pipeline, then you can very well go ahead and use PowerShell to execute that requirement basically. Okay, so let's get into this one. So let's understand what are the basics, right? It's always important to know about the basics and then move on to the advanced items, right? So to start with, now Windows PowerShell is available on each and every Windows laptop uh, that is having OS version Windows 7 SP1 onwards. So obviously, I'm sure each and every one of should be having Windows 8 onwards. Okay, so you will have your PowerShell. So if you go and search for PowerShell, that's what I do in the servers, right? I search for PowerShell and then I'll go there, run as an administrator. And it is a command line shell. That means you can run from a PowerShell command line, okay, which looks like a blue screen, right? That's what you do. And this is basically built on top of .NET. Okay, that's the reason initially it used to be only working on Windows servers basically. So you can do system administration. That means you can go to any servers and you can manage uh, any area of your server. That means you can manage your files and anything related to operating system or anything that is running on your server basically. Those are processes. Okay. So I mean to say, let us say you want to kill some processes. Let us say you have some long running processes and it is killing your memory and the CPU of the server. You can go and identify and you can kill those processes as well using PowerShell. Okay. So now, as I said initially, it was available. PowerShell was available only on the Windows server because it was built on .NET. Now, PowerShell is available on all the operating systems: Windows, Linux, and Mac as well. The reason why it is available on all these servers, Microsoft redeveloped PowerShell on .NET Core basically. So earlier it was on .NET, now it is on .NET Core. .NET Core works on all the operating systems, right? Linux and Mac as well. Okay, that's the reason now PowerShell can be executed on all the different operating systems, and that's why it is getting traction from all the development community as well. Because even whoever is using Linux or Mac, they can also go ahead. They have an option now, PowerShell. Earlier it was all about Unix scripting, right? Or Perl or Python scripting. Now they have an option of using PowerShell. And Microsoft is known for documentation. It's easy to read or learn compared to other programming languages. That's the reason it is getting traction. So as I mentioned, PowerShell let you manage data stores, means you can work with files, you can work with registries and certificates, and then you can manage the IAS, like website creations, Apple creations, whatever, whatnot. You can simply do all the CRUD operations, means you can create, read, update, delete, etc. And you can also manage your Azure cloud as well. Means you can create Azure resources right from PowerShell itself. That means if you want to create a virtual machine, you can use PowerShell to create it. like that. So it is having a vast feature set basically. So you need to know some terminology as well. Okay, so if you're an SME in the PowerShell, you don't simply call them as a commands. You call it as a CMDlets, or you can call it as a commandlet. All the commands in PowerShell, I mean, we refer to as commandlets or CMDlets. Okay, but of course, people use commands as well because that's nature. Okay, but the actual term is commandlet or CMDlets. Okay, and it is a PowerShell is modular based because let us say you have a .NET operating system, .NET framework, right? Earlier we used to download the .NET from Microsoft and then install in on our server basically. It could be 10 GB, 15 GB, or 5 GB as well, and it comes up with all the modules. There are thousands of modules basically. Okay, now if you recently installed IIS, Visual Studio, right? From there you are installing the .NET, and there you have an option to select which modules to be installed on your server. So it is efficient. I mean, it reduces the amount of time to install and configure, and also you don't you know exactly what module you are working on. It improves the performance of your servers as well if you are using module by module. So here as well in PowerShell, it is all module based. Let us say you want to work on IAS, you can install a module related to IAS of PowerShell in your laptop. Similarly, if you want to work with Azure Cloud, you can install Azure Cloud. So what do you mean by installing these modules? If you don't install those modules, the commandlets that are related to the managing IAS will not be available to you in PowerShell window. Similarly, Azure Cloud, etc. So installing some module means getting access to all the commandlets available, and you can integrate your PowerShell scripts with Azure pipelines as well. It can be build pipeline, it can be release pipeline. So why do you want to do it as part of your CD pipeline? Probably you want to do some housekeeping activities. That means you want to change permissions of some folders, you want to delete something, or you want to do something in your artifacts once the code is deployed to the servers. That's why we are calling it as remote machines, because anything that is not in front of you is a remote, right? So I am deploying some code from Azure release pipeline to some server. That is a remote machine, right? Because you are not deploying from the same machine. You are deploying from one machine to other machine. So remote machine, or you can run the PowerShell on the same machine, or you can run it from Azure PowerShell as well. Yes, so far I mean, we were using Windows PowerShell command prompt, right? But in Azure Portal also, we have a PowerShell window. We'll be using that one. Don't worry. Okay. And what are these features? So as I mentioned, you can run these PowerShell scripts on remote machines, and then you can directly run from your command prompt, Windows PowerShell command prompt. As I told you, if it is a PowerShell, it starts with PS. Okay. And you can write a script and you can run it as a background job, or you can you know uh, schedule it basically. You can run it on remote or hundreds of machines as well. And then you can use it for network operations like copying files, etc. And so I mean, those are some basics basically about what is PowerShell. Okay, and let's go ahead and see some of the PowerShell commandlets. Okay, before we go there, any doubts about PowerShell? Just a basics we start.
No, for now I'm fine.
Okay, so this is how your PowerShell command look like, right? You will have two words, uh, word one hyphen word two basically. Okay, so the reason I started with get command, it will give you the list of all the commands that are available in your local PowerShell environment. That means, as I told you, PowerShell is a module based. It will, if you go and use get command commandlet, it will give you all the commands that are available in all the modules that are installed on your PowerShell environment locally. Let's go and search for PowerShell. Okay, you know already PowerShell. So Windows PowerShell, right click and then run it as administrator always. So this is what, right? PS, you can see PS. Okay, it starts here. So when you say get hyphen command, guys, this is a very good scripting. And if I given all in small case, right? If you press tab, it will adjust, or casing as well. You just need to press tab, it will adjust casing. Now you see capital G and then hyphen capital C, so it will adjust. You press enter, it will list you all the commands that are available, commandlets that are available. I'm just pressing Control C to stop the execution. Okay, Control C, because you have a lot of things here. See how many. So yeah, command type, and this is the command name, and what is the version of this command, and what is the source. Source means module basically. Okay, az dot data analytics, azure rm dot data analytics, az dot, you can see az dot data lake store, az dot recovery services, and azure rm. Okay, and you have so many things. And okay, so what do you mean by az? So that means az means azure. Okay, I install azure module in my local PowerShell environment, means this environment. That's the reason I have access to all the azure commandlets that are part of az module, or az module, you can say. And these are all the commands. If you see here, right from here you can add an azure account. Okay, and, you can create a azure iot hub. Okay, you can read the data of get adl analytics account. I mean, this is the azure data lake stuff basically. So you can do everything from PowerShell. You can do all the create, read, update, delete operations, CRUD operations. Okay, and you can also see, because there are hundreds and hundreds of servers, PowerShell will also give you flexibility to search for the commands as well using regular expressions. Okay, let us say you can use a clear command to clear it. Okay, let us say you want to know all the services that are running on your server, SQL service running on your server, but you don't know the service names basically. So you can say get service, uh, press tab, sorry, press tab to set it right. Okay, and then double quotes SQL star, double quotes. That means this command is going to list out all the services running on your server starting with SQL word. So these are all the SQL services running on my server. SQL Server Agent of SQL Express version, SQL Express 01, and there are some other. So that's how you can go and search for services running. Why it is helpful? Sometimes you may need to stop the services, or start the services, or kill the services, etc. Yeah, I'm just giving an example. I'm trying to introduce you to the commands basically. So that will help you to write the scripts once we complete the course. Okay, and then as I said, you can create you can work with the file system, right? Just an example, how do you create a folder on your server. I'm going to share these PowerShell scripts with you. Do not worry. So I'm just copied it. Right click and so I did not copy it. Paste it. So you see a new item, hyphen path, and then you have a d colon new directory. So what it is going to do, you can give name October 28 2021. So new item, create a new item in the path d colon October 28 2021, and this is of type directory. That's what so it is going to create a directory with name October 28 2021 in our d colon basically. That's what you see. Under d directory, it create a d drive, it create a directory. If you go here, go, is what is here, right? Just an example, okay? And see, I mean, we always struggle to uh, search for commands or remember the commands, and we don't know basically how to proceed with any programming language. That is that is why many people struggle to learn anything basically. So always in any programming language or scripting language, there will be some techniques to easily learn basically. So in PowerShell, this is how you can easily remember a commandlet, or let us say you want to do something on IAS. It might be reading or creating, etc. But you need to, even for searching, you need to know some keyword to search for the command, right? So that's what I'm going to help you here. Okay. So as I said, a commandlet always contains a verb and noun separated with a hyphen. I said word one hyphen word two, right? So first word is a verb, and then second word is a noun in your commandlet. Verb means some action, right? So example commandlets you can see. So get, to get something, start to execute something, out to output something, stop something which is already learning, like your services. Set means you are setting some values of something. New, it is about creating something. Updating existing items. Deleting existing items. Okay. Likewise, you want to do anything, it's all about CRUD operations, right? Create, read, update, delete. That's what you say CRUD. And if you want to go and let us say want to update, add something to your Azure cloud, go ahead and that those are available in Azure. You can start with AZ, and then or you can then start with the get, etc. Then you will understand. Or when you see some command, they will be starting with the get, start, out, stop, okay, or add, etc. You will understand, oh okay, if it is starting with add, you are basically creating something extra. If it is starting with you new, add or new, you are creating something. So this is how you can interpret some command basically. There are some other techniques as well to go and search for commands, what is required for you. But this is how your command looks like. Verb hyphen noun basically. Okay. And these are all the verbs that is there. Okay. uh, to learn a PowerShell script, or for that sake, right, to learn any scripting framework or any programming language, the basics are here. Like you need to know how to declare a variables, because you will be writing more than one line of code, right? If it is only one line, you can write from the command line itself and execute it. But if you need to execute some logic, then it will be more than one line. So if it is more than one line, you need to carry forward some values to, let us say you computed something in line 1. If you want to use that computed value in line 10, you need to have some variable to carry that value to that line 10 basis. So that's why for such kind of the regions, you need to learn how to declare variables, how to use loops, means to loop through the data to execute your logic, etc., and how to use conditions like if else, etc. And you also need to know what are the framework provided variables. So you have your custom variables and there will be some framework provided variables as well. You can call it as a built-in variables. It will give you access to the uh, environment details basically, or wherever you are running, that you call it as environment. Okay, and you also need to know the data types as well. Are you using integer, character, string, date, etc.? You need to know them. When you know all these things, and writing a script for you is just your brain work, right? You know the language, you know how to write it, and you know how to execute it, and you know what commands to be used. Then translating your requirement to scripting or programming language is simple matter basically. Okay, that's the reason. Let's go through all these things. So generally, how do you create a PowerShell scripts? Okay, or execute a PowerShell script? You can go to your PowerShell command prompt and then just simply type, I mean, give the script name basically. So PowerShell script extension is a PS1. Okay, you can see in the bottom. .ps1 is a PowerShell script extension. Okay, Python it is py, right? Like that. Okay. Okay. So so far I've been showing you Windows PowerShell window, right? Where you have that blue color window. You cannot write tens of lines of code in that command prompt, right? It's not easy because you don't have any intelligence there, right? Intelligence means nobody can remember anything, right? The moment you start typing in, if you're using Visual Studio or Eclipse or anything, the moment you started typing, it will give you all the available commands. Let us I say get, then it will list out all the commands that are related, that are starting with get, right? Like that, you don't have intelligence in you know command prompt, and that is not convenient to write the scripts. So that's the reason for scripting work, we will use a Windows PowerShell ISE, integrated scripting environment, and this is the editor for your PowerShell, basically default editor. Of course you can go ahead and use Visual Studio Code or some external parties as well, but Windows ISE is the default editor for writing Windows PowerShell script. Okay. Okay, so in that an IDE, you can go ahead and create scripts and execute the commands whatever you are doing from the regular PowerShell window, and you can debug and everything you can do whatever you are doing. The way you are working in Visual Studio for writing .NET code, the way you are using Eclipse for writing Java code, you can do the same thing in Windows ISE for writing PowerShell scripts. Okay. This is your Windows PowerShell script, ISC basically. Let's go ahead and try to use it. Okay, so go ahead and search for PowerShell. You can see the, so far we are using this one. I mean, this is for simple execution of the commands basically. This is for writing, but whatever you can do in PowerShell command prompt, you can do it here as well, because this is also integrated in PowerShell ISC. Right click Windows PowerShell ISC and then run as administrator. So this is your Windows PowerShell ISC. You can write the scripts from here, and you can execute the commands directly from here or from here as well. Okay, and on the right hand side you see command palette here. So it will list me all the commands of all the modules available in my local PowerShell environment. I will show you how to install the module, etc. So do not worry. Okay, and sometimes it may take a lot time to load this commands palette, but if you don't see this command palette, you can come and look here basically. Okay, these are all the things you can see. Okay, so you can come to view and then you can display all these things. excuse me. Okay. And so another technique, right? Let us say you have this uh, command, okay, but you really don't know the syntax of this command, right? That's where when you're using any windows command, windows commands or powershell commands, anything, right? People don't know the syntax of that one, because you need, in any command there will be many switches, right? You will have the command and then you need to give some path or some item name, there will be some flags, or you call it as switches. You will give hyphen, what to do, etc., etc. People don't know that. That's where people struggle. But it become very easy using Windows PowerShell ISE. Let us say I don't know some of these things. I don't know how to use uh, add Azure virtual IP address. Okay, if you say add hyphen virtual, see, this is what I'm saying, intelligence. The moment I started typing, it will list out all the things. Virtual IP. After this, I don't know really what to start with, basically. Okay, command is there, but what to do? So that's where we go to Google and do it, and how to use this virtual IP command. So but here, right here itself, you can do that one as well. If you double click on the right hand side, I'm highlighting. If you double click this, okay, it will show another pane here. So say show details. I'm just showing you how to easily learn commands and how to write commands. Now you see, when I say show details of this add Azure virtual IP, it is asking me some service name. It is mandatory. Let us say some test virtual IP name. I'm some test. I'm saying some test. Let us say test P, test B, test S. Okay, and then say run, and there is some command parameters. That's what. Okay, these are common parameters for any, for any command, basically the way you see in the tasks, right? Okay, so right now let's not worry about it. Let's say run this. So when I run this one, you see the command is available in the bottom of the script. Now you see. So now you know, hey, these are all the switches. You see, hyphen means a switch. You can call it as a switch. All these things are switches or flags, basically. These are all the switches or flags that are available or need to be used in this command, basically. So you need to give service name, you need to give virtual IP name, you need to give some profile name. This is how you know how to use some command in your PowerShell, basically. Getting it? It's a shortcut, basically, to learn something. Of course, I did not give a proper one. That's the reason. I mean, I don't have proper detail. That's why I got an error, basically. You can see here, right?
So Purna, so for this
Hmm.
command, all the required parameters should be available here, right?
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, that's what you see.
Or
Star,
is it
star.
like,
You see
yeah,
star.
or is it
Star.
like we will have some default parameters initially and we can add few more at a later stage?
You see, that you can do, but it has to be a valid name, right? Let us say you are trying to get some virtual version details. Okay, if the name itself is not valid, it will throw you error, right? Hey, it doesn't exist, etc. That's what you can see. No default subscription has been designated. That means, hey, this is a PowerShell script, right? This is a window.
Yeah.
Okay, a simple window, you can think of it. Okay, and I'm trying to get some I'm trying to connect with the Azure cloud, basically. I did not yet uh, establish a connection between my PowerShell window and my Azure cloud. That's the reason it is giving me an issue. No default subscription has been designated. You getting me? So it is telling me, hey, first select the subscription and set your window, PowerShell environment to that subscription, and go ahead and execute this command. That's what it is telling me, basically. Okay, we haven't come to that
Okay.
point. I mean, we are going step by step, but I'm introducing you to some techniques so that it will become easier for you. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, so we are going to use Azure PowerShell later. Okay, once we done with the basics basically. Okay, but right now you can go here and you can find out the usage of any command basically. Okay, and then if you still having any problem, then you can go ahead and do the Google. Then you will be able to relate uh, uh, how to use the commands and what is the purpose, because it doesn't give you the purpose in detail, right? So but that you can get it from Google documentation. But these are some techniques basically, like, to learn. That means you don't need to remember each and everything. Of course you can't remember. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, let me come back. So we are slowly starting. Okay. So I mean, the takeaway from here is, if you're writing a script, start using Windows PowerShell ISE. Okay, let me go back there. Okay, let me go there. So let us say you are, if you think that this is a script that you want to use it in some servers, or you want to use it some purposes, all you need to do right now, this is untitled, right? Let's save it basically. Save it, keep it anywhere, whatever you want, and give some name. That's it. Save as a .ps1. That's it. So okay, that's it. Now this is how it will show, right? Test script. You see, you can see the PowerShell image basically. This is your script. Okay, and you can run it. I mean, if you see that extension, right? As I said, .ps1. Okay, this is as simple as that. But we haven't arrived there. Okay, let's start with some basic things. So I just want to see, there are thousands and lakhs of commands, right? Commandlets that you can use. I'm just introducing you to some of these commands so that we can carry on. Generally, the basic stuff that anyone do in any company or in any server is that file operations, right? Creating folders, creating files, copying content from one folder to one folder, or file to file, etc., etc., or deleting files, or deleting all the files, etc. Okay. And then if you see the last one, this is particularly helpful when you are writing a script. Let us say you are trying to delete something. What happens if that doesn't exist? Your script will fail, right? So obviously what you do, first you will test, you will verify if the file exists or not. If it exists, then only will go under delete basically. That's where you use a command called test path. You see test hyphen path, and a d colon new folder test and test. Okay, that means if that test is available, then only go ahead and delete. Such kind of things you can do it. Okay, and these are very self-explanatory. Okay, let's go ahead and execute some of these things. Anyways, I'll give it to you and you can try it as well. I don't want to execute each and everything because it's a waste of time in the demo, in the lab sessions. Okay, you can go ahead and try it. Okay, so that I will move on. Let us say I want to create a new folder. You already seen this one, new item hyphen path. If you want to create a file, then this is also new item, and you have to give the path, but the item type will be file. Earlier item type is a directory, now item type is a file basically. Let's go ahead and see this, see the same from your PowerShell ISE. Let us say new hyphen item is, right? Double click. Okay, now you see it is asking me path. I'll say uh, d colon, what is it, October, what is it, 28 2021. Okay, it is asking some credit. You don't need leave everything, and then item type is a file. Give this test file. Okay, item type is file. Okay, Then let's go and run this. See, in the bottom you see, I copy this, paste it here. See, this is the command I'm using, right? So you can easily do this basically. Now what happened, there is a file with the test file created in our directory basically in this path. Let's copy, go here, paste it, test file. Okay, now this is a file, this is not a .txt because I did not give the extension. That's why it simply created a file basically. If it has to be .txt, you have to give that name explicitly, right? .txt. Now go and run it. You can delete and comment, etc., and then run this from here as well. Now you see it's executed. Now if you go here, a text file is also created. You can see the extension. Okay, similarly you can create multiple files, and and then you can start using a copy item. You can see copy item, copy from source to destination, etc., right? We have to give source and then destination. It will copy the content there basically. That is it. So if there are multiple items like this, right, slashes and everything, it is always better to give a I mean, your double quote will also work, and a single quote will also work. Okay, no need to worry about it. Like, let us say you can give like this also. Okay, it will work, but you follow your I mean consistency basically. Okay, so let us say you have this item, and copy this to D drive. Let's go ahead and it's done. Now you see, you should have seen something on D drive basically. Go to D drive. You see this is copied test file here just now. Okay, so likewise you can execute all these commands. I'll give you this one as I said. Let's move on. So similarly you can work with the dates, guys, because these are all useful in your any requirements, where because you will be working with the dates and files and etc, etc. That's the reason I'm just giving these examples. Okay, how do you get a date, how do you add a date, or manipulating date basically. Let us say get date, right? Get, see that 20th October with the timestamp as well. And then if you want to add something, you can see date addition, date subtraction. Okay, so this is equivalent to what we see in your SQL queries as well. It won't be different basically. Okay, you can see set date. Okay, I just pressed tab, that's why it changed all the case. Set date, uh, and so for current date add one day, that's what it is saying. Okay, you can see here, if you press dot, right, it will give you all the properties basically. See, this is similar to what you see in your other programming language, .NET, Java, etc. It will give you all the methods what you can do. We're saying the day of one, right, or add days, I guess. Yeah, this is, you want to add a date, right? Dot add, the days. If you want to add hours, you will add hours. You want to add days, you can add days, and then I said 2 days. Run it. What is the output here in the bottom? 30th October. You can see you can see even my date set here, it went to 30th October. You see here in the top bottom right corner. Basically it is 28th right today, but it went to 30th. Okay, so likewise you can work with dates as well. Okay, and after that you can work with files similar to how you created folders. You see new item, path, and then file. You can go and create a file. We just created as well, and you can write content to the files as well. That is using the set content. Basically, let us say in our test file, let's try to add something in our test file. Right now test file is empty. Okay, and here also you have the what do you say, um, intelligence. Let us I go and I don't remember everything. It will give me list out all the files or folders as well in d colon October 28th test file.txt, and I'm going to write some content like Azure DevOps demo example something. Okay, right now the test file is empty. If you go here, right, October, this is empty, right, zero file, 0 KB, right. Let's go and run it. So it's completed, and go and see. You can see 1 KB here. Let's open this Azure DevOps demo example. So this is how you can write to a file from scripting itself. Okay, and similarly you can read the content of a file. Obviously when you are working with file systems, in your logic you may need to read the content, you may need to delete the content, you may need to add the content, set content, get content, clear content. Okay, and you can basically I mean I don't prefer these kind of commands, but since there is something, let's go ahead and try this one as well. you can you can customize the messages that appears in your command prompt as well. You can set the color of your background and foreground of your output in the commands as well. Let us say uh, if this is about to write customized messages. Okay, let's go here. That means what, right now everything is here blue and white, right? You can change this appearance as well. I'm not in favor because that doesn't matter for me basically, or for that sake anyone. Let us say write host means writing some content to your UI basically. Here the command prompt, so I'm writing something, and hyphen separator. If I am writing, if I simply give like this, right, okay, everything will be in a single word. Then it will be like 2,46,801, like that it will look. But I want to write it separate. I want to type them with some separator, like comma, and then arrow mark, and foreground color is dark green, background color is white. Okay, let's go and run this. Now you see here two uh, 2 comma I mean arrow mark, and 4 comma arrow mark, etc. So I'm basically typed and printed all this data with some customization of the colors and background basically. That's what you see. Okay, I'm not in favor of this one, but I'm just telling you, if at all if you want to use for some reasons, you can go ahead and customize like this. We have these options, foreground and background colors. So that's how, I mean, general use of your PowerShell commands, and the techniques to read and understand the commands with respect to the utilization of different switches or flags available in each and every command, all that stuff, right? And some usage of some of these general commands, commandlets, I would say. Now let's get into the semantics of your PowerShell. The first thing that you need to know is a variable declaration in any programming language or scripting. You need to know the program variable declaration. That means you will hold the value of some command output into some other string basically. So how do you declare a variable? You will declare a variable with a dollar in PowerShell basically. You can, and your variable name can be alphanumeric. okay, and it contain underscore as well basically, okay. If it is not a valid name, it will obviously give you some error basically, but it should always start with a dollar. Okay, let us say, let's go here. So I want to hold today's date, let us say, uh, or some location name dollar. You can declare like this, or you can declare and use some content as well, some output of some command as well. So okay, now something is written to this dollar location basically, but you don't know, right? It is executed, but it is not showing this one. But if you want to see this one, all you need to do is simply use this command like this again, the variable like this. Let me delete this one now. Okay, execute this. Now you see the bottom, you see what it contains, the location basically, the location where I started executing this command. So that's what it printed here basically. That means you can use the value of this dollar location. Let us say you have 10 lines of code here, let us say. So you have some output here, you want to use it here. In those cases you can use the dollar variables, because if you don't use a variable, your programming language or PowerShell or any scripting cannot carry forward that output to here basically. That's the purpose of variables. We will write the scripts, right? We will use all these variables as well. Okay. So dollar and underscore is dollar with some name. That's how you create a variable. And there are some special variables as well. These are all from the uh, these are all made available by PowerShell basically. Okay, we will be going to use some of these or many of these special variables in our scripting work basically. Let us say one of them, dollar error. You can see what is dollar error. Basically, when you're writing a script, you want to check what are all the errors that happened before a line execution. Uh, then you can see so, dollar error. Now you see, the moment I executed this one dollar error, it given me this output. Okay, this is a special variable. Okay, dollar error. You see, what is this error? If you remember, 10-15 minutes ago, I used this command in my PowerShell environment, and it gave me an error basically saying that, hey, your PowerShell window is not connected to Azure PowerShell, etc. I mean Azure Cloud, etc. And this has been, after this command we executed so many commands, but those were all successful. Only the last failure occurred here basically, and it will give this dollar error special variable, give me the last error that occurred as part of your scripting execution basically, script execution. You can see here, this is the last error. After that we executed many items, you see here, right? You created a folders, you created a files, you copied the content, you added content, all these things. So dollar error gives you the last occurred error basically. These are the special variables. Okay. Similarly, dollar underscore, dollar caret, dollar, all these things we are going to use it. For each, we are going to use this in our looping basically. For each item, we will do something, some matching conditions, some events. We are going to use it some for arcs, event arcs. Okay. I have given description here as well. Please go ahead and read it. It will help you when I'm going to use all these things in my script basically. Okay, but simply what you can understand, these are the special variables. It will help you in your logic in your script basically. Okay, all these special variables. You can see if you use a dollar home, what it is saying, represents the full path of the user's home directory. Let us say dollar home. let me go and say delete dollar home. Okay, let me run it. You see, this is where we are working basically. C colon users Purnachandra K. Okay, if you want to see where this host, you want to see host represents an object that represents current host application for PowerShell. Host, run this, and you see the bottom. It will tell you all about your PowerShell basically. It's a host. It is a Windows PowerShell ISE. So like this, these are all PowerShell special variables which will help you, uh, and especially this dollar underscore. It will help a lot. Let us say, if you read this documentation, it will confuses you, but I would suggest still go ahead and read it actually, because when I'm using it, it will help you. Okay. Similarly, you have many other variables, special variables. I have given it here because these are mostly used variables, special variables in any scripting. Okay, and so you know how to create a variable, and some special variables. Now let's go ahead and learn all the operators that are available in PowerShell. We have arithmetic operators, comparison, assignment, logical, redirectional, and split and join operators, type operators, and unary operators. These are all the operators that are available. And this is what you have in other programming languages, right? Plus, minus, asterisk for multiplication, division, all those things. But every programming language scripting, they have their own syntax. Now let's go and learn the syntax of PowerShell for using these the operators as well. Okay. So addition, so we are using variables here. You keep something in variable $x and then $y. So $x plus $y. See, in some programming languages, so if it you must give like this $x plus $x space and then operator and then space and then your variable. If you are using XSLT or XML something, even space also matters. If you don't give a space there, right, between them, then it will treat it as a string. Let's see how it works here. Okay, all these subtractions, arithmetic operators basically. Let us say I'm creating a variable $x. Okay, uh, equal to some 10 value, and another variable $y equal to 25. I want to have the sum. I'll create another variable, like let us say $sum of two values. Okay, equal to $x plus $y. I need to print it, otherwise it will not show me the value basically. Dollars sum of two values. Okay. Before this, I'll use a clear command so that my bottom window will be clear basically. Okay. Now let's see what happens. So what's the output here? You can see here 35. Okay. Let me do like this. $x plus $y. Now let me execute this. See, it is giving me the value. Just for your understanding, let me change this value. 39. Okay. So what I'm trying to say here is that PowerShell is intelligent enough to understand. There is a plus here. This is arithmetic operator. So whether there is a space between these three letters, there is no space, it will still go ahead and do the sum for you basically. Okay, so sometimes it is a blessing for you, sometimes it is not a blessing for you. Okay, but I prefer to keep the readability intact, otherwise it is very difficult for us to understand later itself whether it is a string or whether it is a operation. Okay, but it works for you in both the ways. You getting me? Similarly, you have the so Similarly, you have the arithmetic operator, so subtraction, multiplication, division, etc. I'll just do it for another one. So let us say you have the same variable. Let us say make it asterisk, and then see it. 229. Okay, so here the key takeaway is not about how you are doing, plus x plus or minus, everybody knows it, and it's a common sense, right? Here the key takeaway is that, either you can combine everything or you can keep these spaces, still it works. Okay, but my preference always give the spaces for better readability. Similarly, we have the comparison operators. Here, it's easy to remember basically. If it is equal operator is EQ, first two letters basically. Not equal to, take first letter of not, that is N, and second letter, first letter of second word, equal to. Not equal to, greater than, G from greater than, T from than, greater than or equal to, less than or equal to. It's easy to remember basically. Okay, now if you go and do the same thing here, let us say $x less than, right, space, give the space, L E less than, or is it, it's not LT, right, it's LT, but it, it is not changing the color, it is giving me some other underscore, you can see underlining, so hyphen. Now you see LT, you have all the intelligence here as well. Dollar Y. So $x less than $y, is it right? True basically. You can see the true right here. And if you want to say greater than, false, because 10 greater than 29, no. So likewise you can use the arithmetic operators as well here. So easy to remember, hyphen, for equal to it is EQ, not equal to it is NE, greater than GT. It's all about first letter of your word basically. Okay. And then similarly you have operators as well. So here it is all about giving boolean values, you see, right, true false. So sorry, that's what you need to carry forward. uh, it will give you true or false based on the condition what you are using, less than, greater than, etc. Okay, true false basically. Okay, and this is your assignment operators. So we already used assignment operators, right, like assigning some value to some variable, that's what you done, right? Here you already done it. Your x assigning 10 is assigned to x, so you have your equal to operator, right? You already use assigned operator and use the variables, and this is pretty much similar what you have in other, it is equivalent to $x plus $y basically. I don't know people use like this. People make complicated by using plus equal to. Plus equal to means $x plus equal to dollar y means $x equal to $x plus $y. You don't need to complicate yourself, keep it very simple always. If you want to do some sum of two numbers, keep very simple, $x plus $y, as simple as that. But some people use this format, I mean even in .NET, Java as well. If you want to use it, you can go ahead and use it basically. Okay, let me take it, but I don't prefer it, it's not readable basically. Okay. Let me change the value so that you will have the difference. Let us say you need to have the, so now let's run this till here. It based it, you have the data here false. After this you don't have it because you are not storing this value, you are not pasting value basically. Dollar sum, and say like this, let's say dollar sum, let's say 11. This is basically 10 plus 1. So either you can give a $x plus $y or plus equal to y. Guys, I don't prefer these kind of things, but I'm just giving, both are same. Okay, plus equal to, similarly minus equal to, for subtraction. Okay, and then finally you have the logical operators. Logical operator, you might have learned in your academics, right? Dollar, I mean, and or not basically. Let us say, let's go and use it, I mean, that's why we will understand, right? Let me delete this. $x hyphen and space dollar y. Okay, let me remove all this for simplicity. Okay, so what you got it? True, basically you got some boolean value, dollar x and dollar. There is some value in dollar x, there is some value in dollar one. When I use this condition dollar x and dollar y, it is giving me true. Let me make it 0. One of this value is 0. 0 here, see in boolean values it's all about whether it is a 0 or non-zero. Value doesn't matter, 100, 200, etc. 0 or non-zero. Okay, let us say 10. Now what you have, the output is false basically, because so and means both the values should be non-zero, then it will become true. If one of the values are 0, then your and condition will return false basically. Let us say if I make it or true, one of the values should be non-zero, then your or condition will give you true basically. These are your read in your academics as well. Similarly, you have the not as well, dollar not basically. Say not means it will reverse the value basically. Let us say hyphen not dollar x. It is giving me true. Basically, dollar x is a zero value, but when I said not, it became true. Let us say if I make it non-zero, let us say some 290. What it became? False. Means actually dollar x is a non-zero value. It should be true, but when I used not, it became false basically. These are useful for some kind of logical operations in your scripting basically. This is how you can, I mean, your boolean operators will be used. Okay, these are and or not basically. Guys, I will stop it for today. Uh, you learned your variable declaration operators and some introduction to some of the commands, and I will share all of these things with you. You can go and practice, hardly takes 30-40 minutes. And then from tomorrow onwards we'll get into the other areas of the PowerShell. Once we are done with all this syntax and semantics reading, then we'll get into scripting work basically. Okay, so that you can write your own script. Okay,
Okay, thanks, Mona.
yeah, hope that helps basically. Thank you.
Yeah.